Hello, and welcome back to Honors Bio. So, we're going to keep talking about non-Mendelian traits and genetics, and part of that is when we get traits that are multiple alleles or have multiple alleles of them. Up to this point, we've only been working with two different versions of a trait: red or white, tall or short, P shape is round or wrinkled. But we can have traits that have just more than two different versions of it. An example of that is the human blood system. Our how we have different types of blood is the perfect example of multiple alleles. Because we have four different blood types. So we have three different alleles for blood. Because we have A, B, and the O blood groups. So because of that, each individual is either A, B, AB, or O blood type phenotypically. And how that works, how we can get four from three different alleles, is that the A and B alleles are completely dominant over O, but A and B are co-dominant to each other. That's how we can get the AB blood type, is because A and B are co-dominant to each other. So both A and B are fully expressed in the AB blood type. When we use blood types and how we write them to solve Punnett square problems, we use what we call the I system. And the I system just refers to, or the I refers to immunoglobulin. And that's what we use. So when we have here, so type A and type B blood, we write it as the uppercase I with the A to represent the A blood type, or the B to represent the B blood type. The lowercase I is going to represent type O, because since type O is recessive to A and B, that's how we use the lowercase letter. And the uppercase letter A and B are used because they're co-dominant to each other, so we have to express both different alleles. So type A and type B, if you're homozygous for both the A alleles or the B alleles, you're going to be that blood type. But if you have just one and then the O allele, or the lowercase I, since A and B are completely dominant over O, you're still going to be type A and type B. And then for type AB, if you just have type A and B, you're going to be type AB because they're co-dominant to each other. We also have the Rh blood factor here. It can be Rh positive or negative, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So what does it look like? Well, here's what just the blood types look like. Basically, all it means is the blood type just referred to what surface protein is on the surface of your red blood cells. So type A blood has the A protein on its surface. Type B blood has the B protein on its surface. AB has both the A and the B proteins on its surface, and O has no proteins on its surface. What that then means is when we do blood typing, is that in body system, in people systems, body systems, blood systems, sorry, they're going to have the antibodies, or like the immune response for the other type of blood. So if you have A blood, your body has the anti-B bodies. If you have B blood, you have the anti-A bodies. AB has no antibodies for different bloods, and group O has both antibodies. What that means is that if you try to give a person who was type B, type A blood, their body will actually trigger an immune response and fight off that type B blood, which isn't good. That's why when doctors do, or when people have to get blood transfusions, the type of blood matters, because if you give people the wrong blood, well, you can cause clumping of the blood inside the veins or inside the body, which isn't good. Now, type O blood can be given to any blood type because they don't have surface proteins. Because group O doesn't have surface proteins, that means that these antibodies can't bind to anything on the surface of the red blood cells. So group O can be given to anybody. But group O, if you have type O blood, can only receive type O blood. So, because group O has both the anti-B and the anti-A bodies. So group O can be given to anybody. They're a universal donor. Group AB, on the other hand, can receive any blood. Because they have both the A and the B antibodies, A and B surface proteins, they don't have antibodies for either A or B. So group AB can receive group A, B, or O blood. So they're a universal receptor. They can take anybody. But when they donate, they can really only donate to other AB people. So group O is the universal donor, AB is the universal receptor. So let's work through some blood typing problems. So it says if a male is homozygous for blood type B and a female is heterozygous for blood type A, what are the possible blood types of the offspring? So if we were to work through that, just get a marker out and I'll use red here. So again, the male is homozygous for blood type B. And when we write these, we use the I system. So if he's homozygous for blood type B, that means they share the same blood type. So it's going to be IB and IB. That's the male. The female, let me use a different color here. The female is heterozygous for blood type A. Sorry, got a little cut off there. So she's heterozygous for blood type A. That means she has one A allele, but then she also has the lowercase o allele. So this is what we got. And then we just fill in our Punnett square. So fill it in. Oh, let me write the I's first. Just so I don't be switching back and forth between colors. So by filling this in, what we see is that there's two different blood types possible. Because since A and B are co-dominant to each other, if there's A and B, so we can have blood type AB as a result, because that's what we see here is blood type A and B. And since B is completely dominant over O, over the lowercase allele, all we need is one B allele. So then we can have blood type B. So the possible blood types of the offspring, if these two were to have offspring, would be they could either be blood type AB or blood type B. All right. So let's do another one. So let me click here. So our next one, let me just clear this. So it says, is it possible for a child with type O blood to be born to a mother who is type AB blood? Why or why not? So here's the thing. So we know that if a child is type O blood, child's type O. Well, for the child to be type O blood has to be two lowercase i's because O is completely recessive. So that means that at least one of these boxes has to have both i's in it. So, and we know the mom is type AB. So if we were to write the mom's genotype over here, she's type AB, so that means she has an A allele and a B allele. So if we were to write that over here, we then see that it's not possible because the mom is going to give either the A or the B to the child. And since the child's type O, we have to have two lowercase i's here. So it is impossible for a child to be born with type O blood, really, if either parent is type AB. If either parent is type AB you cannot have a child with type O blood because we have to receive 2 lowercase i's. So the answer to this question is no, because mom has to give either A or B, which is going to result in the child having either A or B blood, or AB blood, depending on who the father is. So the answer is no. So let's go to the next one. We'll skip this one. All right, so now we got the Rh surface protein. So that's the blood types, but there's also this positive and negative, right? People can be the 4 blood types, A, B, or O, but they always be positive or negative. What's that? Well, it's the Rh surface protein. So the positive or negative just stands for another surface protein that can be found on the surface of red blood cells. And we call it the Rh, or the Rh factor. And we call it Rh because it was first found in the rhesus monkey. So we just Rh factor, the Rh surface protein. So if they have the protein, we say they're positive. So the protein's found on the surface of their red blood cells, they're positive. If they lack the protein, then they're negative. So they don't have it in the negative. Having the Rh protein is dominant to lacking it. And then, so if they're Rh positive, so the Rh protein is classic Mendelian genetics here. So it's classic genetics, classic rules of dominance and recessiveness. So if they're Rh positive, they have 2 genotypes. They can either be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Both will result in having a positive protein. Or they can be Rh negative, which if they're Rh negative, that means they're 2 lowercase alleles. So back in the old days, before we could just kind of run it through a machine and it tells us, before what they would do to figure out a person's blood type is since the immune system triggers a response if the wrong blood type is in it, what we would see then is if the wrong blood type's added to blood, to a different set of blood, it would cause agglutinin, or the blood will clump. All right. So that's what they would do is they would set up 3 different kind of known blood sources: a blood type A, blood type B, and then an Rh positive blood type. Then what they would do is they would add the unknown blood to all 3, and they would look for this agglutinin, or this clumping, to occur. If they had clumping, that means that that blood is not the same as that. All right. So really, it was just mixing and seeing if clumping occurs. So like this is what I was saying here. So like for this first one, they added unknown blood to known A and B. Well, since there's no clumping, that means the person has the A and the B antigen. So they're blood type AB. But since there's clumping with the RH, that means that they're RH negative. So the blood type is AB negative. Here again, AB, but since there's no clumping for the RH, they're RH, or so they're positive for the RH factor. So they're negative for the Rh factor, so they're AB negative. Just a fun little fact. So now, right, what we set up then is for blood typing problems is now we get this kind of dihybrid situation set up. So it says a man who is B positive is heterozygous for both traits, mates with a woman who is O negative. Is it possible of having an offspring with O positive blood? So here's how you would figure it out. So remember, first step is always figuring out the genotypes of your parents. So the male, he's B positive, and it says he's heterozygous for both traits. So for both the blood type B and the Rh surface protein, the positive, he's heterozygous for both. So that means for the blood type, he's IBI. And then for the positive, for the Rh protein, he's also heterozygous. So he's big R, little r. and is cross mates with a woman, as a child, with a woman who is O negative. So since she's O negative, we know O is the recessive version of the blood type. So we're going to have little I. And then she's negative 2. Well, negative is the recessive version. So that means she's a little r. So here you have your dihybrid set up. Before we do the dihybrid, though, we have to kind of know what are we looking for. So we're looking for a kid with O positive blood. Well, if the kid's O positive, that means then that the kid has to be little I. And since he's positive, we know we have to have at least one uppercase R, one dominant allele. It doesn't matter what the second one is, because as long as he has one, or the kid has one, we're going to show the positive result. So we'll do the dihybrid. Remember, you don't have to do the full 16-box Punnett square. You can do the cheating way, because Mendel says traits are inherited separately from each other, the law of independent assortment. So we'll do the blood first. So dad's IBI. Mom is little I. So we do that cross. Whoops, let me erase that. Let me just draw down that little I there. Actually, I messed up this one in square. There we go. Sorry. Boom, boom, and bring down the B. Okay. B. So we're looking for little I for the blood type. Well, we have that potential blood type here. Okay. So there's our little I. So it's possible that the kid could be O, could have O blood. Now, what's the chance that he will have a positive Rh protein? Well, that's just another Punnett square. So now we can figure out if he's going to be positive for the Rh factor. So to do that, we'll drop that down, we'll bring that down. Dad is heterozygous, so he's big R, little r. Mom is negative, so she's R. I'll fill in the mom since I have the blue marker out. And then I'll fill in the dad. So we're looking for a kid with positive blood. He's positive for the Rh protein. So that means that we just have to have one uppercase allele, or one big R. Well, we have that here. So both of these are going to be positive. So there you go. So now how do you figure out the possibility of having O positive? Well, we can write this as 1/2. So there's a 1/2 chance that the kid will be born with O blood. So 1/2 chance that the kid's going to be born with O blood. And then there's a 1/2 chance that the kid will be born with positive blood, with Rh positive blood. So we can write that as a fraction, 1/2, and then we just multiply the fractions together. 1/2 times 1/2 is going to be 1/4. So the possibility is 1/4 or 25% that this couple will have a kid with O positive blood. There you go. Pretty straightforward. The last little thing with the Rh factor, that there is a disease, not really a disease, but something that can happen with the child and the mother during pregnancy. So I'll clear the board. So during pregnancy, what can happen? It's called the hemolytic disease of the fetus. And what it is if you have an Rh positive father and an Rh negative mom, if they have one kid, the kid's fine. But the kid's going to have the fetus will have a pretty good chance of having positive blood because dad's positive. Again, not a guarantee, but pretty good chance of having the fetus will have the Rh positive factor. So what will happen is, since the mom and the fetus share blood, some of the Rh positive blood from the fetus will get into the mom's blood system. So not a huge concern, because the body, or the mother's body, will just produce antigens, immune response, to fight off the R positive blood system. Mom may get a little sick, but nothing super crazy. The concern comes in is if the mom then has a second child, or that the couple has a second um, child, offspring, fetus, because the mom's body now has the anti-Rh antibodies. If they were to have a second child who fetus has Rh positive blood, well, then the antibodies from the mother will go to the child, recognize the Rh positive here, and produce an immune response, and will actually damage the child's red blood cells. And in some cases, will even result in the body rejecting the fetus. So, yes. So, blood is, again, it's a great example of the multiple allele system. So that's all I got. I know this video ran longer than what they normally do, but hopefully you found it helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.